1962 at Buckingham Palace by the Queen and her Privy Council. And then it was sent across the seas over to this island to her oathed servants, who then instituted it or enforced it as a law of the land, which makes the Queen the property owner of this land. Now, this constitution also states that provided that under this, in the introduction, it states that provided that whereby or under this order, the Governor General has power to make any order or to make any appointment or to do any other thing for the purposes of this order, that power may be exercised by the Governor of the Colony of Jamaica at any time after the 23rd day of July 1962. So that it's clearly stating that the Governor General is the only human being on this island who can make laws, make appointments, and make any decision under this constitution. Which is the reason why we as individual people have no idea of the things that our government does. We don't know what they will do tomorrow. When they were taking IMF, we were not there. It has nothing to do with us. Nothing that the government does has to do with the individual people of the island, and that is against this law. Let me read it again. Article 21. Everyone, Article 2. We want to understand what it means by everyone again. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, gender, language, religion, political. Does that include each of us right here?
Yeah, that's everyone.
So let's go again. Yeah. Article 21. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country. It means the Queen has a right to take part in the government of Britain. The Queen of Britain has a right to take part in the government, and I cannot take that right from her.
Yeah, that's her indigenous right.
That's her indigenous right. That's her country. Yes. She was born there. Yes, get it? No, I was born here. So I have a right to take part in the government of my country directly or through freely chosen representatives. When was the last time did we have a public election for the Governor General, who is the only human being that the Constitution of this island recognizes?
That never happened.
Has there been a public election where the people select who is going to be the next leader, the Governor General in King's House? The next general of the government?
Nothing like that.
The only person who appoints the PNPs and the JLPs and the Chief Justice and the attorneys at law, he appoints everyone.
No. Never touch.
So, but we don't elect him, the people don't elect him. So that's a violation of Article 21. He's not a freely chosen representative, and he is not us taking part in the government of our country directly.
Just to bring up that Article 4 says that no one should be held in servitude. Now, many don't understand that the 1962 Constitution was a means of servitude, enforcing the people into a modern type of slavery. Because no one in this country willfully elected a Governor General, and no one elected the Queen of England to be a head of state for this country either. So all this so-called legal framework we see, it's all an illegal system.
Good. And the way to get rid of this illegal system is to take it to the courts through international law, the International Court of Justice. We have a representative of human rights that represents these laws that can we cannot have a human rights system within this country if there remains a Jamaica constitution which only grants all privileges to a Governor General, which is against this law. So therefore there has to be a replacement of the law of this island where from unlawful to lawful, where a new constitution has to be written that grants equal access to the lands and properties of this nation to all individuals that belong to this nation. And whenever decisions are to be made within the government of this nation, then it must be publicly made known to all individuals of the island, where they will equally have a say in all matters, which will result in circumstances which will affect their own lives. Right. That's what human rights is about. So we have a representative who has already written up that constitution. So we have a rewritten constitution. It's called the Christological Peace Treaty. It grants all the land and properties of this island back to the people of this island and not to the Queen. But it takes, as it says, let's read Article 21.2, 21.3. It says, the will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. What this means is that the will of the people means what the people want. If I want a school to be built, if I want more pay in my jobs, you understand? If I want a better dollar value, a better currency, thank you. This is the will of the people, right? And the will of the people is the basis of the authority of the government. The government has no other authority except to activate the will of the people. But if the people do not express their will, then silence becomes consent. So that means we're accepting the corruption. For example, they say, wear mask and taking your own carbon dioxide for no reason at all whatsoever. Right? And if you just put on the mask, you don't check your health care, you don't check if it's a violation of your human rights, you're just silent and you go on with it because you feel like it make a life look more easier. When it instantly make life look more harder.
Yes.
You're punishing yourself to death.
You understand? So this is when we don't understand that these are violations of the law. They are violating our equal rights, our freedom of opinion, or freedom of expression, or freedom of choice. Article 20. Article 20. Everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. Now, this is citizenship. Jamaican citizenship is an association. You're associating yourself with Jamaicans, right? Can we describe being a Jamaican as a peaceful association, being a part of a peaceful association?
No.
When you can walk out the road as an innocent person and get abused. When you do not know how your next meal will come. When you're not sure of how the job will go. Can you describe at night you don't know how much gunshot are going on your ears drum? Can you describe can you depend on the government of this island to make your day better tomorrow?
No.
So can we describe Jamaica as a peaceful assembly and association?
No.
So you cannot. No one can compel you to belong to this unlawful association called Jamaica. But you must know your rights and as an indigenous person to this island. We have to challenge the criminals and we have to call them criminals, which is what they are. Until the day that you stand under the principles that are set, then a governor, who is a governor? Today, a governor is someone who rules over the people and tell the people how to live and how not to live. Right? But what a government should be is a government is the one that is given authority over the circumstances that should benefit our lives, and their acts should be towards these. For example, do we need farms?
Yes.
The government responsibility is to prepare farms.
Yes.
The food should have been
Do we need better education in schools and better access to education?
Better housing.
The government was put there to manage these things, not to control people's life, but to take management over the things that should benefit back the people.
higher standard of living again.
Good. Higher standard. Article 25. Article 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care. Now I want the word everyone. We have to take a second to talk about the word everyone.
Everyone.
Because we know Wolipa homeless. We know Wolipa. Listen to me. If the law is not going to take me as a very important case, right? Then the law not going to work, my family. Because if you're going to take it in law and say, right, we're going to take care of this person. And then you can't say me. What that make me? One animal?
Nobody.
Alright, let me just say this briefly, you know.
Yes, sir.
The Vatican City, which is giving out instructions to the United Nations, is clearly not a member of the United Nations.
What does this mean?
Alright, simply, the laws of the Declaration of Human Rights, which were signed by 195 countries, this shows that these people who signed to this treaty were in full realization of the treaty and accept it as it was. The Vatican did not sign to that treaty, making him...
Can we add something, please? Very critical to add. What were these conditions that the Vatican do not agree with?
The Declaration of Human
Article
Rights.
1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. When the Vatican refused to become a member of the United Nations, the Vatican is disagreeing that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They see themselves supreme and wish to remain supreme, so they will not join an agreement that makes the black man equal to the Pope of Rome. That's what the Universal Declaration is. A document that, despite the rank of a person, despite the position of a person, despite the race of a person, they remain equal. Everyone has the right to be recognized everywhere as a person before the law. This law is not understood, so let us explain it. What does it mean that everyone has the right to be recognized everywhere as a person before the law? If you as a Jamaican person leave this island and go to America, will they be treated as the regular person that is found in America?
No.
No, so they are not recognized as a person. Because the regular persons are recognized as people, right? So when somebody comes, if you don't treat them like how you treat the right, that means you're giving them a different recognition from the recognition, and they're recognizing those people as regular persons. So you see a Jamaican or you see a black man, you don't see a next human being, and you don't treat the person as such. You don't give them the high-end jobs. You don't give them an equal opportunity to show the value of who they are. You understand? So you keep them hold them just because you don't recognize them as a person before the law. And that's a violation of the law. Yeah, so if I go to China, it should be just as if I am a Chinaman. Right? That's what the law is saying. And anyone who does not treat it as such is in violation of the law. So when the ambassador approaches King's house to be recognized as the human rights ambassador, when he clearly has his people who has freely chosen him as his representative on this territory, then the Governor General, as the person who serves the laws of the Governor General, has the right and the obligation to recognize the person, because that is his job. He cannot judge a man and say this is a Rasta man, so I cannot blah blah rate, or this is a black man, so I cannot. You understand? That is a violation of the law, and you're stepping out of your role as a Governor General and being a man. Discrimination. And that's a violation of your own position, and that's a violation of international law, and that's a violation against the laws that the Queen set over her servants to serve. Good? So, therefore, we want to move on now to how do we, what is needed? It need the voice of the people to become the authority. The sound needs to go out to identify these criminals as criminals. It is what has not been done. The Queen is no dignitary until she can be recognized as violating the rights of the indigenous peoples of this island. She is not from this island. She was not born here, and under no law does she has any right to be a governor over this island unless the people so choose or request her services, which has not been done. That's the fact is that the Queen's rule came from slavery. The Queen's rule, the purpose why the reason the Queen is still a ruler over this island is because of the history of slavery that this island faced. So these are not people who have any good intention toward us, and it proves in the daily lives we live and the governance that is set up over us. But no one will solve our problems for us. It has never happened. We are the people who need to recognize the challenges that we're facing. We have to rise up from being the small people or the savages that they call us. Jamaica is only a third world nation. Hey, if any person was not on this island and it was a big empty island, it could be called third world. Why is China not third world? It's because of one big country? No, it's because of the behavior of the people who live in that country. Why it is a first world nation. The people behave civilized. No, so Jamaica is a third world because its people behave third world. So we have to rise out of the third world mentality so that Jamaica can become a better place. And we can name it what we wish, because the name Jamaica came from Buckingham Palace in 1962. It's not our.
And that has nothing to do with the
indigenous people of this land. The Jamaica coat of arms has a red cross on it that is standing on a shield. A red cross on a shield with a knight's helmet above the shield, with the alligator standing up on that helmet. This is a clear representation of the Vatican's Knight Templars, who are the governors over this island since Christopher Columbus, who came with the same symbolism on his 3 ships. The cross, the red cross, and the big white seal. And that remains the symbol of us being conquered. The indigenous people of this island being conquered by strangers who have no regards for our worth as human beings. So it takes the voice of the people. The people needs to stand up and call this. The law, as the foundation has already been set to protect the people. But all the people need to do come out and voice it. Let it be known that we did not ask these criminals to be governors over us, and we wish to be the governors of our own destinies.
Now, we think about blessed. And now we have a very important point to make also, which we think everyone should acknowledge to come to our understanding of. Now, the governance of this world, or the function of this world, is actually prophecy. Now, we have to understand that the daily activity that is taking place every day, it's actually connect with biblical prophecy. Now, church and state, we understand that that's the way it is, right? So we the people have to understand that all that is unfolding now is just prophecy. We are at a point of prophecy where we have to highlight where the events that are taking place is directly connect with the scriptures of the book. Now, we are the indigenous people. Now, we are also the children of Israel, which the scriptures talk about. Now, we are living a time of Revelation, and Revelation 14. Now, we think now we're going to explain it further, but we're going to start with Ras Wade. I'm going to keep in the board first.
Well, just as I said before, Rome is what it is from the past to this very future. They are not a member of the United Nations, so they go against the principles that set forth for humanity and for the betterment of all human lives. We look today and we see this mass vaccination, mass mask wearing, and all of these events are without the full consent of the people of all countries. And this is a violation of people's fundamental rights of freedom of thought and freedom of conscience. We no longer see where human beings of all nations have the right to express themselves. And many persons have not taken the time out to consider why their lives are heading in this downfall direction. Now, as a human being, your life on this planet is to develop as a human being and have a life worthy of living. Now we see where all these measures being taken place globally and these restrictions, we are seeing the prophecy of the poor becomes poorer and the rich becomes richer. And it's just as the law says, the will of the people shall be the authority of government. So we have to now recognize it for what it is. It is prophecy saying that it's the mark of the beast. What are you going to do? Are you going to stand up for human rights? Or are you going to take what the Vatican is planning? Because if you are against that all is equal in rights and dignity, you are against humanity. You want everyone in humanity to be a servant.
The Vatican carries out this process of human rights violations through a document or a framework that they call Agenda 21. Under this Agenda 21, which they proceed to the United Nations, which is a violation of the United Nations laws, but they still use this branch through bribery and scamming and all type of corruption. They maim the United Nations and they pass around their documents to their millions of dollars, and they come with this climate change, and they come with this shutdown, they come with this coronavirus, they come with this vaccination.
6 feet apart.
People are losing, more jobs are being lost, and they want more people to be government dependable. So more people should stay home and accept checks from the government. So you're becoming more
dormant,
more tight to your government and dependable on the government. So when the government made a decision, you're gonna want to please them, right? So they're gonna give you something that won't help you, but because you get something, because that's a mentality that the people have. Because things are getting from bad to worse.
Mouth and you control your whole body.
Selassie. So we're at the stage where the mark is the mark of the beast. Who is the beast? The beast is that man that the Bible speaks of. The man of sin who bears the number 666. Now every Pope of Rome is crowned under the title Vicarius Filidae. Vicarius Filidae, which means in English representative of the Son of God. Now in this title that all the popes receive, Vicarius Filidae, if you take all those Roman numeral letters out of that title, and you check up the values, add up the values of all the Roman numeral letters in that title, you will get 666. That's the number of the name of the beast, the number of the name of the beast. So that identifies who the beast is, right? And it also says the beast is a whore that sits among many waters. And the Bible translates in Revelation 17, it translates the waters to be nations that speak different languages. Multitudes of nations that speaks different languages. So the whore sitteth amongst many waters. Then it describes the whore now to be that great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. And no city fits perfectly except Vatican City, that great city that reigneth. It sits right in a group of nations. The European nations, they're one set of nations, but they speak many different languages. There's Portuguese, there's Dutch, there's French, there's Spanish, there's English, there's German, the German language, the amount of language speaking that one place family. And they're one people. They're one people. Right? There's Greek, you understand? They're one. And that's right where the great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth sits. And that's Revelation 17 explaining who the beast is. It's all Vatican. They are not members of the United Nations. They do not agree that we're all equal in dignity and rights, and they want to put an agenda out on the world through the United Nations that robs people of their freedoms and give them all the ownership and governance over all properties. They want to separate people from their access to their lands. They want to separate people from their freedom of choice, their freedom of religion. They want to shut down half of the day and tell you to live half a life. Yeah. That is not the will of the people. That is not the will of the people. So under Revelation 14, it shows you that Babylon the Great has fallen because they have turned away from the laws that benefit the human race. It's the same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden. It's the very same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden. Satan told Adam and Eve that if they break the commandments of the Most High, then they will be like gods. Let's explain what it means. The law of the Garden of Eden was paradise, which means everlasting peace and prosperity. It means that everyone is equal. No one had a problem with another person. No one robbed anybody. No one took anything from anybody.
Full equality.
But when jealousy came up, and then a crime came up, right? Then there was banishment outside of the Garden of Eden. So when Cain killed Abel, he was kicked out, right? And that, what's the purpose of that? Because the land was for equal rights and justice. Now Satan tell Adam and Eve that if they violate this type of liberty, they will become like gods. You know what it means? It means that how do you become gods? Is when you have control of the things that benefit the people and you withhold it from them, then the people will now turn to you more dependable to get access to these things. You were put as the head of the garden, and you were set to rule it over like this, to be the managers. But you step from being the managers and start being the owners. You understand? So that's what happened now. So when you become the owners now, everybody have to turn to you now as the owner to come get something, because you make the access to things limited. You understand? And that was the violation that took place in the Garden of Eden to ruin paradise. So Adam and Eve did became like God's car. Everybody have to come bow down to the king and the queen now.
And that was the beginning.
And that was the beginning of corruption in the world. And it's the same thing that happens today. Nebuchadnezzar the king set up a great image over the world and said the world must bow down to it. Right? That is the same thing that is going on with this corona and this mask wearing and this vaccine. A great image has been set up over the world. And our nations have been called. When they hear the media start sing and play the trumpet and play all type of foolishness for people believe in it, then everybody bow down to the image. Everybody start wearing their mask. Everybody start put up their sign at their shop door. No mask, no entry. Just like how the scripture said, you will not be able to buy nor sell. Buy nor sell. Buy nor sell if you don't accept the mark of the beast.
Yeah, because look at it. There are 28 countries in Europe presently without a COVID passport.
Give me a moment again.
You cannot go to or fro.
King Nebuchadnezzar had the same rule. He had the very same rule. Anybody who don't follow this thing and have access to do not know, you have to shut them off. So here comes the 3 Hebrew boys.
King of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar.
Them say, here what? Me no believe in that image that way you give me. No. Me know a real God. And me serve a real God and me know a right way of life really I go. When me do it that way there, me can't lose. Because you can't go blame me for nothing and you can't go say me do nothing wrong, which is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So me not go bow down to someone me know say nothing go so. You know why? Because me no do no foolishness for you come tie that for me. You get what me I say? Me know me most high when me I serve. And me I go stand with him. And if me I go fall, me will prefer fall. I know say me fall with me most high. Than if you can listen to some man so me no believe and me no see with. You understand? Someone say, right here, me are throwing in my fire. What is in fire? In fire is him in council, a wise man them. He send these men to the, go say, here, we put them in a court. Which is the wise man, them the judges and the this and the that. So we put them in a court and we go sue them because they violate the order. You understand? And the man say, look here, your law can't, no one can violate the law when me serve. Me is a little Hebrew boy just like on the call me. That means say, me as a Hebrew boy have a different identity from Uno. Me have a different governor from Uno. So when Uno make a declaration, Uno can't come tell me if you bow down to it.
You know agendas.
You don't have no jurisdiction over my decision them.
Rastafari.
You understand? Good. And if anybody else don't want to be a part of them jurisdiction to tie up themselves, come join the right thing over here, so. You understand? You will never be condemned.
Yeah, because
you will never be condemned.
A lot of persons don't know how significant it is to identify yourself. You must remember that Jamaica is a corporation owned by the Queen. So whatever decisions that are made by her Privy Council or Her Majesty to function that organization, everybody within that organization is obligated to the terms and conditions of that organization. Yes. Now, if that organization does not take the realization of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights into effect, then the citizens would not get the benefit of this declaration. Now, as a Ethiopian noble through the Orthodox Church, our Prince's Imperial Highness Rasluel Mesfin supports the Human Rights Declaration.
He's a representative.
And is a representative.
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights law. He's a representative of the law, but he cannot enforce himself to represent the people. It's just like the law says, it's the will of the people
freely choose a representative.
Must freely choose a representative. So our job is to make the people aware that there's a human rights representative that is here to challenge the position of the Governor General, the unlawful position of the Governor General and the Queen as being representatives over this island, so that all members of this island, born and raised, can be equal holders and owners of this island under law. That's how we become a first world nation. None of this will be done by those oated servants of the Queen. So the Prime Minister can come and he can say, next year we get rid of the Queen. No such thing.
And no such thing. You have to realize,
no Prime Minister, no Governor General, no Chief Justice, no lawyer, no judge. All these individuals are servants of the Queen, and they can perform no action that is against the Queen. So the only persons who can make any difference with where these unlawful persons taking position as governors over this island is the people of the free individual people of the island, who must stand and declare that these people are unlawful, they are not representatives of the people, and we, the people, have our own representatives which we need to be recognized as our human rights ambassador, so that we can reform Jamaica as a republic. A republic is a nation that is governed by the people who live in that nation equally. So we will all own our island, we will all make our decisions together, and I'm sure that when we own our island and we are making our own decisions, it will all be to the benefit of ourselves and our children and our future generations, and also the benefit of the nations of the world as well.
Selassie. Peaceful and friendly relations. Yeah, and the truth of the matter is that by voting for these false rulers and these false representatives, it only showing that you're giving away your right. You're waiving your right the moment to do that, because they're not representing the people. They're representing the crown, which is the head of state, which is England, America, the Queen, herself, Your Majesty. No, we the people have to stand and recognize or find back our way to our indigenous identity. You see, so this is the way we have to move forward going further. If we want to liberate ourselves, we have to stand with the man of salvation, which is Ross Llewellyn Haile Mesfin, the human rights ambassador at large. So the only way moving forward is to renounce your citizenship and stand and claim your human rights representative and your human rights privilege. Selassie.
And this is done. This renouncing a citizenship is not a process that we have to do in any special way, except we as the people come together